Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Wherever you are around the world, you are extremely welcome to the Top 8 of Pro Tour Amsterdam 2010 with me, your host, Pro Tour statistician Rich Hagan, and my fellow commentator, the Pro Tour historian, Mr. Brian David Marshall. There you see the handshake between Brad Nelson of the United States and Kai Butter of Germany. We are underway. So there's Nelson from Team Channel Fireball and his opponent, Kai Butter of Germany. And we are underway with the first creature in play is from Kai, and that is a Steppe Lynx into play. There's Kai, the German juggernaut. Every decoration in the game, 4-time Pro Tour champion, player of the year, 7-time Pro Tour champion in 9 attempts. Unreal.
Across the table we see Brad Nelson sacrificing his Verdant Catacomb to go get Murmuring Bosk. When the new extended was announced, a lot of people were perturbed that they would not be able to fetch more than one color of mana with their fetch lands because the Ravnica lands were rotating out. But Murmuring Bosk was in the format sort of hiding below the surface, and this is the one deck that's really taken advantage of that interaction. So he now has green, white, and black available to him on turn 2.
So Nelson taps. Thoughtseize. There he is. And what are we going to see? Knight of the White Orchid, Steppe Lynx, another Knight of the White Orchid, Student of Warfare, and a Spectral Procession. So, Brad will, I imagine, jot those down. Yep, that's looks like what he's doing. Checks the life score, and Thoughtseize a real sort of staple of pretty much every format it's been around in.
Absolutely, and really one of the big disruption elements in this deck. There's 7 or 8 disruption spells in the Treehouse decks.
So Nelson finishes writing down the hand when you've got
Think he's going to take a Spectral Lynx or a Steppe Lynx, I should say. He wants to take a Spectral Lynx. He wants to take both out.
Yeah, that seems like a great plan. And Brad Nelson is generally a pretty pacey player. On his route to 11-0 this weekend. You had to get to his matches early because 3 minutes into the round he was just about shuffling for game 2 a lot of the time. And Nelson continues to ponder.
He was probably really hoping he would see Brave the Elements here and be able to get that.
That would be nice to get
clear
out
that
of the way.
card early. Brave the Elements has been one of the key cards for the White Weenie deck this weekend. It's been a falter. It's been a counterspell.
Yeah, it's one of those things that doesn't have modes, and yet it's extremely versatile. Right. It's like, I will use this as a counter your spell for 1 white at instant speed.
He is going to take the Steppe Lynx, which a number of players have just called one of the best 1-drops ever printed this weekend.
Well, of course, Kai, we're all used to the idea of getting 4 double landfall triggers out of things like Arid Mesa and Marsh Flats, but Kai also has the opportunity to go for the real triple whammy.
Right. He can get +6 on his Steppe Lynx as if he plays a Flagstones of Trocaire. They both sacrifice, get another land.
So we have a hit from the Steppe Lynx. Landfall has happened. Now here's Student of Warfare, and that will get to work. First level counter, and it's good to see level up as an ability that a lot of people felt might be a predominantly limited ability, and we've got some level up in the top 8 here in Extended, which is nice.
We've got a couple, and we also have the Coralhelm Commander over in Marine's deck.
Indeed. So there you see Treetop Village trampling people to death forever, it seems. Murmuring Bosk. Fetch land, Verdant Catacombs.
So Steppe Lynx is going to be able to, assuming Kai draws a land here, Steppe Lynx is going to be able to get a +4 this turn because he's got the Knight of the White Orchid as well.
Yep.
12. Right.
And here comes Knight of the Reliquary.
Which is 4/4. 4/4.
Which is a 4/4.
So that's a pretty decent roadblock as things go.
Absolutely. I was talking to Brian Kibler last night as we were doing the deck tech on Treehouse, and he called Knight of the Reliquary the worst card in the deck. I mean, which was no slight on Knight, I believe. Kai fetches a land with his Knight of the White Orchid. So he's got a 2/3 step links, still a 1/1 Student of Warfare. It's only got 1 level counter on it.
And he's drawn a Figure of Destiny. Trivia moment, Figure of Destiny, the card with the most number of mana symbols on. Ever. Because it's all like, 1, and then it's 3, and then it's 6. And
Not the land.
you get all these little red-white things running about.
The original leveler.
Yes, absolutely. From there it all stemmed. So there you get a look at Brad's hand. That looked like a Putrid Leech there, Elspeth, Knight Errant. Pretty exciting Planeswalker, by the way, coming in Scars of Mirrodin. We might take a look at that later on today.
Oh, absolutely. We had a good time at the party last night, which was the sort of sneak preview of Scars of Mirrodin.
Yeah, how many of the top 8 did you see at the party at midnight?
I definitely saw at least 25%.
Oh,
I'm not
really?
going to name names.
Oh,
but
I knew. Okay, you could just write them down for me. Who are they?
I was teasing Brian Kepler during the deck tech about his, what is it with him and 1 Elspeth? Yeah. He's like, I don't want to draw 2. And we see the 1 Elspeth in Brad's hand.
So there you see the table, and as is so often the case, it looks like White Weenie is utterly dominant again, this lonely 1 card on the other side of the table.
I mean, he's only gotten in for 2 damage on his own.
Yeah.
Or 4 damage on his own. The rest of that damage has come from fetch lands and Thoughtseize. So he's already at 11, and basically he's been attacked with a Step Links twice.
Yep.
So we talked about how quickly Moran and Guillaume Wafatapa sort of tore through their match, or I should say how quickly Moran tore through Guillaume Wafatapa in their match.
They finished 1 game in that match?
They did finish 1 game.
Okay, well that clearly means it's 1-0 to Moran. Because
Yes.
Guillaume's laying Vivid Land number 3 roundabout now otherwise.
Exactly.
Okay.
All right, so
Moran Lambert leads Guillaume Wafatapa by 1-0.
So we got Tarmogoyf, Treefolk Harbinger, and Putrid Leech all dumping onto the table here. Getting a nameless inversion.
And that's one of the neat little tribal synergies that exist in New Extended. Brad's making a pretty decent fist of this right now.
Oh, absolutely, but the problem is he has to. I mean, he's already at 12 here,
And he has to brave the elements at some point.
Yes, absolutely.
So Spectral Procession
Right,
in
we know,
Kai's
okay.
hand,
Right
Knight
away.
of the White Orchid, another Knight of the White Orchid. And land.
Kai can
So
just stock up on mana here.
2 mana, Knight of the White Orchid. I'll go fetch. Just the 1 counter on Student of Warfare at the moment. Figure of Destiny still sitting as a 1/1.
I have a feeling that's going to start to change. I mean, again, he can level up his guys and just sit there and not really give Brad any good ways to attack, and then just wait for the Brave the Elements to show up. And 1 spot removal card's not going to quite do it. And plus, he's going to start being able to attack with his Spectral Procession tokens.
Yep.
Soften them up a little further. I assume they're coming down this turn.
So there's land.
This for
There
5.
will be 3 available.
He's going to just send in the Spectral Links. So, why do I keep calling him Spectral Links? That's because I keep
'Cause you
thinking about the
want it to
Spectral... You get 3 of them.
Yeah. Step Procession,
Yeah.
Spectral Links. Okay, so I'm going to block with that.
Yeah. I'm going to eat one of your gentlemen.
Yep.
19. First blood.
I've taken that already.
Hmm?
I've taken first blood already.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean,
So there's the plane, so we've now got
you
3
can make a
available.
chance for yourself, but
And I
not a
think
good
we're about to
chance.
see a little Air Force occur.
What? Reflecting Pool was
It's gonna
another card
be,
I didn't play with in my
8
draw.
creatures to 3 here.
So, like,
4 if
damn,
you
this
count
was
the
so bad. It was still
Treetop
pretty
Village.
decent.
I'm getting a chance to read some of the text coverage as it's being done on the
card, right?
monitor.
I have one card. Oh, we draw one.
The things you don't see. So tap, tap, tap. And there's the Air Force Spectral
Broken
Procession.
Sword.
And I think Aaron Forsyth will be pleased to see that. Spectral Procession was a real signature card for him as director of R&D. He said, you know what, I feel that Magic should be about creatures. And the idea that normally you're so used to counter magic or burn spells being... No, Pyroclasm is a classic card advantage for 3 for 1. He said, you know, I actually want to make creatures that are 3 for 1. Where you kill a Spectral Procession, you've still got 2/3 of a Spectral Procession. It's a real signature card for him, and good to see that in New Extended.
Yes.
I was waiting around for some bird tokens to show up.
Yeah, we always carry around in the Pro Tour kit, there's a little sort of library of tokens. You can go through the history of Magic and go, yeah, just in case I needed some elk tokens. Have we got any of those lying around?
But in the meantime, we'll use some sleeves.
Yep. So the Pressure Mountain, 19
No
to 12.
face-down cards from my graveyard as tokens.
No, let's not do that. That's bad. Last night we were watching Kai playtest, or more accurately, we were watching Kai watching other people playtest for him, sitting beside one of his German friends, and on the other side of the table was Sebastian Thaler, former Rookie of the Year, with a whole stack of Vulshock Berserkers with Bosk written all over them.
I thought that was a great scene, actually, seeing like this new generation of German players and you know, the original generation of German players
Yes.
coming together. I don't know that Kai necessarily needs that much help, but he did pretty well on his own this
Well, he
weekend.
didn't have to use his arms during the playtest. He could just sit there and watch. He didn't even have to hold the white weenie cards. So Nelson pondering his options. A reminder that Moraine Libert leads Guillaume Waffatapa by 1-0. Still 0-0 in Jacob Kibler. And Ma against Reitzel.
We have to get to the bottom of the Reitzel controversy.
Well, normally we could do the joke like you say Reitzel, I say Reitzel, but we both say Reitzel, so we're going to be Reitzel or Wrongzel, I guess.
Brad's looking for a way out here. The villagers are surrounding the castle.
Yeah. I mean, he has a 4/4 Putrid Leech, potentially, at a cost. He has a nice sized Knight of the Reliquary. He's got a treetop village back there. It's not like he has no defense. But there are 8 monsters on the other side of the board.
Okay. What did you say?
Knight's a 5/5, and the Tarmogoyf is...
So
Tarmogoyf's got land, creature, and sorcery, and it's threatening to have instant and tribal
Well, this one works.
as well.
16? Yep.
Looks like Kai was pretty content to
What's this?
say go. Oh, and there's the Elspeth.
I need a dice.
Yeah, I do.
Sounds like we have another game result on the back table.
Yeah, and since that involves White Winnie, that tends to suggest it might have been Paul Reitzel, and indeed it was. Spectral Procession tokens, which are 1/1s, but not with Honor of the Pure Down. That's a pretty sizable force, and that got the job done. So Reitzel leads the 19-year-old Thomas Marr in the All-United States clash there. Fantastic weekend for the US. Hats off. 5 of the top 8, 3 Europeans. We've got a graphic for you later on showing the results for the top nations as we go. The top Japanese list is extremely interesting and begins, not surprisingly, with Yuya Watanabe, but begins, surprisingly, in 28th place.
Wow. I was talking to Guillaume Matignon on the way here this morning, and he said, what an amazing top 8. He's like, this could be one of the greatest top 8s of all time if only there was a Japanese player in the top 8.
Sure.
Like, he felt it was missing, you know, one of the great Japanese players to be, like,
Sure.
the perfect top 8 for him. And I don't know who he'd remove from this top 8 to put that Japanese player in. I can't even imagine.
Kai, maybe? I don't
All right, there's the nameless inversion.
You're gonna fetch that. He goes to 7, he goes to 10, he goes to 13. Still doesn't kill me. Is it? 5,
It's been a very interesting feature match area this time around. It's been in a slightly secluded spot within the venue. And
Within the venue.
Yes, it was in the venue. I know you found it halfway through Saturday. But what was interesting about it is that it's a lot quieter than normal. You don't hear the buzz of the PTQ going on behind the main stage. These players are truly secluded. They are through soundproof doors. And the tension in that space under the lights, you can hear the buzz of the lights that they are under. And it's going to be very interesting to see how the players deal over the course of the day, which could be a long one, how the players cope with the lights and with the pressure and with the silence. It is sepulchral in there, and that is not something that any of us are used to, and we've all of us who've been around the Pro Tour for a while have remarked on just what an unusual environment it is for these big name players here on final Sunday. Well, we're still 0-0 in Kibler against Jacob, but Jacob is all about saying no to important things, and Elspeth, Knight Errant, it turns out to be pretty important, and Kibler has got that to stick. So right now, it is looking like Elspeth is being ridden to victory.
It is the one card in Kibler's deck that Michael Jacob was really concerned about.
Okay, well, that tends to suggest that we're heading for 1-0 to Brian Kibler. We are 1-0 to Leibert over Waffatapa, and we are 1-0 of Reitzel over Marr. We are 0-0 of the man with the head in his hands against Brad Nelson. In the background, you see Waffatapa against Leibert, and big headline news, Guillaume Waffatapa not in his coat this morning, which comes as a big surprise.
It is pretty hot under those lights.
It is pretty hot under those lights. Feature match against Brad Nelson. Brad Nelson is virtually dying under the lights, and Guillaume Waffatapa sitting there, cool as you like.
Meanwhile, Kai is attacking with three tokens.
Yep. So down to 8, Brad Nelson.
He's going to do some leveling here.
So, student of warfare. Which isn't a bad name for Kai, to be fair. If he didn't already have a card.
His card would be Master of Warfare.
Master of Warfare, yes indeed. But then even the Masters never stop learning.
Sure.
And that's what we're seeing right here.
So what you see Kai sort of showing Brad here is his, like, all of his first strike. He's like, look how much first strike. Look how complicated this attack step will be for you. In reality, Kai's just going to sort of launch a Tarmogoyf. And he can...
So Elspeth with 5, Putrid Leech, Knight of the Reliquary, tapped Treetop Village, Tarmogoyf tapped. And it looks like Brian Kibler is indeed 1-0 up. You see them shuffling in the background, Mike Jacob in his trademark hat. Has anyone actually seen Michael Jacobs' hair? Does he have hair under there? I don't think I've ever seen him without that.
At Nationals a few years ago, we posited that the hat was actually made from his hair. It was actually like a style.
Oh, wow.
Other people have posited a glass dome with a sort of throbbing brain under it that he has to cover up with the hat. But no one's actually seen it.
No one's actually seen that. Okay, then. Good to know. So Nelson draws 4 land, one of which is a Treetop Village. Elspeth at 5.
Looks like one of the better cards that Nelson could have drawn there. I believe he's drawn a Maelstrom Pulse. So we got a Tarmogoyf, an Elspeth Soldier token, Knight of the Reliquary, and Putrid Leech. We've also got a Treetop Village sort of hiding there in the back row, going, don't worry about me.
think part of the value of a card like Treetop Village is that so many players are ingrained as they're learning the game to think about land as just a way to cast spells. The first time you die on turn 17 to the Treetop Village that's been hiding amongst your forests and your swamps, you go, where did that come from? That wasn't a creature, that wasn't in my line of creatures. It just nestles there amongst the black and the green. One definite feature of New Extended is some pretty complicated board positions. We've seen battlefields that are not clear where there's just one or two non-land permanents in play. We've seen actual, genuine red zone standoffs.
Right.
Although right now with the flyers, it's not really a standoff. It's more an air-off.
Yep.
So
there goes all your first strike.
Let's say 3-4-1 with the pulse.
Do you have a Brave the Elements, Kai Bude?
Well, he certainly has the mana for it. We have not seen one in his hand at any point this game.
Counter?
So this is the last of the game ones.
I guess that's a
And in case you're thinking about that new play draw rule, how differently does this game go if Kai gets to lead off with that step links on the play?
Shuffling up for game 3 roundabout now, maybe?
He actually ends up with 2 step links in play. The Spectral Procession probably gets thought seized.
Mm-hmm. And that's part of the reward for being the number 1 seed. Brad was the last man standing.
We do have
Oh,
Brave
yes,
the
there
Elements.
it is.
He was hoping to maybe kill him next turn.
But decides he can't lose 3 2/2 first strikers, so Maelstrom Pulse countered for 1 white.
See Kai laughing. Of course I had it.
Yeah. And Kibler and Jacob on the back table, they just sort of turn around while they're shuffling for game 2 and say, oh, is that Kai being Kai? Or